2025 has come and gone, and it's one of those years that's definitely going to leave a mark. I'll let you be the judge of whether that mark is good or bad, but we at Second Wind have some strong recommendations if you're looking to distract yourself from the real world for an hour or 72. Here's our picks for favorite movies and TV of 2025.
It seems safe to say that the golden age of franchise streaming is over, and that most of the major studios are pivoting most of their major brands back to theatrical releases. It is wild that this experiment of taking high-profile properties and making television shows with unlimited budgets produced so few memorable results. Still, we'll always have Tony Gilroy's Andor. It is impossible to encapsulate how great Andor is in the space of a minute or two, so let's just cut to the heart of the matter. Andor is the rare modern addition to a major existing franchise that made me wonder for 12 consecutive episodes whether this might be the best thing that the intellectual property has ever produced. It also asked whether a franchise show could be the best television series of the year, and the show that rose to meet the current moment. So few modern takes on established brands dare to even aspire to that level of ambition, to tell a story that not only enriches and builds upon what came before, but pushes it boldly into the present day and beyond. Fewer still succeed. After half a decade of watching the franchise lost in mediocrity, Andor managed the truly impossible. It made me believe in Star Wars again.
I honestly didn't think that a hospital procedural could still surprise me in 2025, but along came the Pitt to prove just how much life still existed in these classic genres of television. Chronicling a single 15-hour shift at the Pittsburgh Trauma Medical Center, the Pitt shines a light on the internal and external hardships that this kind of staff goes through on a daily basis. The depth of characters, realism of the medical scenarios, and escalating tensions helped the show snowball in popularity over the course of its first season earlier this year. It helps that the entire cast is simply extraordinary, with Noah Wiley's Dr. Robbie as the emotional glue that keeps the emergency room together, even in the face of unspeakable tragedies. In an era when it's not uncommon to have to wait several years for a new season of something like Severance, Stranger Things, or The Last of Us, the fact that the Pitt's second season is premiering in just a few weeks is honestly kind of a medical miracle.
Twisted Metal has a glorious mix of grit and cheese all wrapped up in earnest excitement. The show managed to capture the self-aware humor and edgy ideas from the game to craft a first season that placed it in a post-apocalyptic setting unrelated to the games. Season 2 took the tournament format from the games and made it fit perfectly in that established world. Everything that was good about Season 1 was made great in Season 2. The humor shifts between clever and juvenile, the story navigates the heartfelt and the silly, and the whole thing comes together to be thoughtful and funny in a way that few things dare to even try. And thankfully, with Season 3 greenlit, we can see how this unique story continues.
Common Side Effects is an Adult Swim animated series that asks the question, what if that odd conspiracy theorist friend you had back in high school was 100% right? The show follows Marshall, an altruistic mycologist who stumbles upon a miracle cure-all mushroom and immediately becomes targeted for elimination by big pharma companies. Despite the distinctly misproportioned characters and surrealist imagery caused by the mushroom's use, the series deals with believable, deep-seated government corruption and tense interpersonal relationships tainted by greed and opportunity. It's a show that managed to jump easily between witty comedy and the heartbreaking nature of humanity. The production house Green Street Pictures were also responsible for Scavenger's Reign, one of my favorite animated series from 2023, so they are on an absolute roll at present, and I'm looking forward to a confirmed Common Side Effects Season 2.
Given it's the latest film from director Paul Thomas Anderson, it's no surprise that One Battle After Another looks and sounds as good as it does. Anderson has always been a meticulous craftsman as a director, creating films that look gorgeous, packed with striking imagery, memorable characters, and thoughtful observations about American history and culture. The big surprise is that One Battle After Another is as propulsive and enjoyable as it is. Anderson is a director who famously dropped out of film school after hearing a lecturer disparage James Cameron's Terminator 2. So it's fitting that working with his biggest budget to date, Anderson has crafted a populist, accessible, mainstream blockbuster that is not just one of the most urgent films of the moment, but also among the most enjoyable. It says something that over a century into the history of cinema as an art form, Anderson has found a new and thrilling way to shoot a car chase. One Battle After Another is vibrant, dynamic, exciting, and compelling. It's a portrait of contemporary America rendered on celluloid. It's revolutionary.
In a pretty remarkable year for anime, City the Animation is the one that's burrowed into my brain and lingered there since I first watched the pilot back in July. It's a slice-of-life surreal comedy that uses brief vignettes to peek in and out of the lives of the various citizens of this town, conveniently named City. While it first begins as seemingly disparate stories, the larger picture starts to fall into place as you piece together the relationships between the various characters. But what really stood out to me about City is in how playful the series treats not only its vignette format, but the medium of animation as a whole. The 5th episode specifically is a standout in how it uses each character as a piece in a literal jigsaw puzzle that's revealed later on in one of the best animated sequences in years. If you want a slapstick comedy that can make you laugh one second and break your heart the next, City the Animation is here for you.
Starting as a show for a now defunct streaming service at a time when big DC-related projects weren't really hitting, Harley Quinn seemed like it was doomed before it started. However, after 2 streaming services and 5 seasons, it remains one of the funniest, most unpredictable, and sincerest shows. The show's ability to disregard the canon, play off familiar tropes, and add their own ideas without concern of how it'll play into the established timelines makes it feel free in a time when connected universes can feel confined by corporate-mandated tie-ins and fan backlash. This year, Season 5 showed it is just as enjoyable as every season that came before and has me excited for the next.
Long Story Short is an animated sitcom series on Netflix that highlights the Swooper family's ups and downs through the decades. Quite literally. Each episode skips across various time frames, where the core of the Swooper family unit grows up, grows apart, and starts their own families, with all the lingering traumas and dysfunctions of their early years coming home to roost. Its out-of-sequence storytelling across the 10-episode first season provides interesting threads that get satisfying payoffs, which deeply endear you to these characters despite their individual likability. As a product of the lead writers of BoJack Horseman, it's neither as ridiculous or as dark as that legendary series, but I'm enjoying its thoughtful storytelling with a vibe that strikes a more even balance between those extremes.
Pluribus burst out the gates with one of the strongest pilots in recent memory, and somehow every episode since just keeps building upon that excellence. From Vince Gilligan, the mind behind Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, Pluribus takes that expert level of storytelling and craftsmanship, adds in Saul's breakout star in Ray Seahorn, and then goes back to Gilligan's sci-fi roots on The X-Files to create one of the most consistently brilliant shows of the year. It's part mystery box, as the audience slowly uncovers new pieces to a puzzle that they don't even know the final picture of. It's part examination of grief and what happens to us when we lose that one person in the world who knows us best. And it's part dark comedy, with the kinds of biting punchlines that you'd expect from the creator of Breaking Bad. All of this combines into one of the very best shows in many years, and one that's quickly becoming appointment viewing for me.
There is so much to love about 28 Years Later. As with Wolf of Wall Street, it is insane to think that a movie this vibrant and dynamic was directed by a filmmaker approaching his 70s. Danny Boyle has an energy that would put directors 1/3 of his age to shame. There's a lot that can and has been said about 28 Years Later. A film about parenting, about Brexit, about the end of British exceptionalism, and about the slow march to the apocalypse, among many other things. But the most surprising thing about that movie, at least for me, is how deeply moving it was. This was a year of thoughtful meditations on death and loss in films like Hamlet and shows like Pluribus, which Marty has already recommended. But 28 Years Later offers a profound exploration of what it means to live in the shadow of an almost unimaginable tragedy. To navigate the zombie apocalypse, reckoning not just with what it means to live and survive, but also with what it means to die. It's incredible.
Welcome to Derry was something I only watched because it was on while I was playing Megabonk on the couch. However, before the first episode was over, I had stopped casually looking up to see what was happening and was fully paying attention with the game paused. It moves away from Pennywise being the main source of terror and has the entity create unspeakable horrors that play directly into the fears of the person experiencing them. The depth of the characters, along with the creativity to translate fears into tangible visual effects, is nothing short of top tier. It creates a shockingly grounded world for these seemingly impossible horrors to occur in, and makes you feel both crazy and like you're the only sane person for believing these things could happen.
Ryan Coogler's Sinners is a movie that manages to check a ton of boxes for a wide variety of audiences, and has succeeded despite being a fully original story featuring a predominantly black cast. Two things movie execs seem adverse to pushing. Set in Prohibition-era Clarksdale, Mississippi, twin brothers Smoke and Stack return from gangster-filled Chicago to start a juke joint nightclub, featuring their talented young cousin Sam. Sam is in fact so talented as a singer and guitarist that his music can entrance the public and commune with ancestors across time. This draws the attention of the vampire Remick, who covets Sam's ability and seeks to make it his own. I told you I had a little bit of something for everybody. The premise is simultaneously grounded and fantastical. Its strong cast is constantly charismatic and compelling to watch, and the horror undertones masterfully flow into heart-pounding action and drama. It's a fun and absorbing watch from start to finish, with music that matches the weighty circumstances surrounding the film's story. Sinners may well be a favorite of mine to watch far past 2025.
Weapons is my favorite movie of 2025. Now, I don't think that Weapons was the best movie of 2025, because that would go to one battle after another. I don't think Weapons is the best horror movie of 2025. Sinners. I don't even think Weapons was the most interesting horror movie of 2025, because the rage zombies of 28 years later had those big old floppy dongs. Still, Weapons was my favorite movie of 2025. I saw Weapons twice opening weekend, both packed showings to an audience that wanted to see a movie, aka no one was on their fucking iPhone. That's a David Lynch reference. Every scare was more intense because the crowd screamed along with me. Every gasp sucked in more air. Every laugh of mine was amplified by 100 other people. Weapons was a beacon, a shining reminder of why I watch movies. The communal experience. Don't get me wrong, I love watching movies at home, the snacks are cheaper, I can wear sweatpants and pause for bathroom breaks. But movies as a medium were designed for a crowd watching them, and the intricate pacing of Weapons conducted the audience perfectly into every reaction. I saw this 3 times in the theater, and each time the audience's reactions were perfectly in sync. I think we can attribute that to Zach Cregger's start in sketch comedy. Horror, like comedy, is all about timing. Weapons is a ghost story as told by a group of kids hopped up on Jolt Cola. It has an iconic villain, genuine chills, even more genuine laughs, a smattering of gross out goop, and an ending that had me and at least 3 theaters full of people hooting and hollering. A rare movie that's not just worth your time, but worth scheduling time with all your friends to watch it together. Also, did you know that Aunt Gladys is played by the same actress that played Buck's girlfriend in Uncle Buck? That's neat.
That's a wrap on our list and on 2025. Let us know what your faves are in the comments, and we'll see you next year. Peace.